Hey there, I'm Brandon, and this is Dirt Church Devotional. By the way, don't worry about the smoke back there. I was just running a bike a second ago. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you this morning about relationships. How many of you know relationships can be tough? They can be really, really difficult, mostly because, you know what, we're messed up people dealing with messed up people, and oftentimes trying to get messed up people to see things our messed up way. Anyway, regardless of that, Jesus had one rule for dealing with other people, and it was this: love your neighbor as yourself. Or, put in a different way, do to others what you want them to do to you. Treat others the way you want to be treated. And that's easier said than done sometimes, a lot of times, actually. But you know, there's real blessing for doing that, but on the flip side of it, there's real consequences when we don't. Things that we don't even think about. For example, I want to take you to Genesis chapter 29. Now, in the end of Genesis 29, we see a situation. Jacob has married Leah and Rachel was the wife that he wanted. Leah was the wife he didn't. He was tricked. Not going to get into that too deep. You can go ahead and read it yourself. But here's what happened in the end of Genesis 29. It says, when the Lord saw that Leah was unloved, in other words, when the Lord saw that Jacob wasn't treating her as good as he was treating Rachel, when the Lord saw that Jacob wasn't treating her the way that he wanted to be treated, when he wasn't treating her as he would treat himself, it says the Lord opened her womb and she was able to conceive. Yet he kept Rachel from conceiving. Jacob's choice to not treat Leah with the love that she deserved. Now, she was his wife. And we can go round and round and in our minds justify him being frustrated. He hadn't chosen her. He was tricked, blah, blah, blah. Bottom line, she was his wife. And beyond that, she was also another person. And he was not treating her with the love, the dignity, and the respect that she deserved. And it cost. It drove a wedge between Leah and Rachel. It drove a wedge between Jacob and Leah. It drove eventually a wedge between Jacob and Rachel. God allowed Leah to have children, but he closed up Rachel's womb, the one that Jacob loved. In fact, in chapter 30, first part of chapter 30, Rachel gets really upset, and then Jacob gets upset at her. He says, look, I didn't close your womb. God did. I'm not God. No, he wasn't God. But Jacob was acting in a way that caused God to move his hand in a way that he didn't like and Rachel didn't like. And eventually, I think he got it figured out. Eventually. In fact, I know he got it figured out. You know, he ended up being buried next to Leah and not to Rachel. That's neither here nor there. But let me challenge you with this. What relationships are you struggling the most with in your life? Who do you have the hardest time treating with love? Why don't you start treating them the way you want to be treated and see if some of the other situations, some of the other relationships in your life start straightening out? Chew on that. We'll talk to you next time. Like, subscribe, share, and have an awesome day.